Oneness family, this is Shophar from Full Show Energy Work and Full Show Health on YouTube. And I'm here to talk to you today about overstanding, understanding, and understanding our ego. And the purpose of this is to just give a basic understanding really quick. And then I'll go into deeper, science or deeper stuff on my Patreon about it. But for here on YouTube, I'm just going to give you some basic things, some understandings and understandings that I've come to in my own journey, my own remembrance that can help you on yours. And so when we talk about the ego, so I make a distinction now based on just even the sound, the pronunciation. When we talk about the ego, the part of ourself, our being that roots us here in this world, we have a persona, a personality, right? And that persona, just like this physical body, is not going to last forever. Some would say that we have had multiple personas or personalities through what we call time and space, right? In other words, what some talk about in some cultures of reincarnation. Whether you believe that or not, one thing is for sure is that the physical body will not last forever, right? At least not in this form. One way or the other, it will be transmuted and alchemized and become the atoms which were part of something else 1,000 years ago. They will again be part of something else in the future, right? And so what about our mental capacity? What about this thing that we call the ego, our personality? Where will it be 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now? This being that we think of as like, my name is Shophar. So where will that be? From my own experience through meditation and higher levels of orgasm, or in plant medicine experiences, my experience is that there's a part of our being that we think of as us, that the thoughts, what are thoughts? If you've been on my channel, you've heard me say our thoughts are our mental pictures and our verbal affirmations or words. And then also we have emotions, feelings. So and that put together is kind of what makes up what we call the persona. We believe that we came from a certain place and that we're of a certain race and all these things. And these things are quote unquote true in one way. But in another way, there's another part of our being that we don't have to aspire to because we already are that, which is timeless and everything. That part of our being, which encapsulates all of that, is just an awareness. In other words, it's a witness to the personality, is a witness to the physical aspect of ourselves, the physical experience. And it's just awareness. And I believe that part of our being, in fact, I have a certain knowing that part of our being goes on, even once the flesh and the personality kind of dissipates. And the ego has a very big fear of one day going back into the whole or the greater. So, and when we have a certain level of detachment or a misunderstanding about the nature of our ego, it starts to edge goodness out, edging goodness out, EGO, or even if it goes too far into distortion, if you don't, if you can watch the video that I did about distraction and distortion, then there becomes a place where it actually begins to distort and distract us and causes evil. So it becomes evil going on. And so that's the shadow, or the shadow aspect of the ego. Now, when the ego is healthy, like we just have a healthy understanding about our connection here on the planet, then that's the healthy shadow, right? But the shadow, in my opinion, the way I'm defining it, is an aspect of our ego, of our personality here on the planet. And then we have the ego. See what I'm doing there? It's kind of like Chinese or other cultures. We have the ego and we have the ego when we go higher, right? So if the ego is contraction, restriction into the physical vessel, into this third and fourth dimensional realm that we call the physical, right? If it's that, then the ego is that part of us that's evolving. Notice how the word contraction and restriction have ion in it. I talked about that before. The word ion is an exchange of energy, is a charged particle, right, in electronics. So it's an exchange of electrons. So the expansion, the evolution, the revolution, all of those words have ion at the end, right? So the ego or egogo is the expansion of things. And it is evolution going on. It's the ego evolution going on, right? That is the light part of our being. So they say the universe is contracting and it is expanding and is doing all of that. One of the main apparatus, just like we have a quote unquote nervous, or I like to call awareness system, we as human beings, as creations of the all, or we are part of the galactic or the universal awareness system, if you will. So anyway, that's having the connection between the shadow and the light parts of our being. So then what is darkness? What I say is darkness? That is the greater womb. That is the big mother, if you will, the big mama. That's the universe herself. That dark hole that can even pull in with its gravity, pull in light, can collapse a motherfucking star and pull things in. And you know what? There's again the fear of the ego is that being lost into that darkness. So that's part of the shadow aspect of the ego. But the darkness, what it really is doing is it fucking annihilates. It's like what time is. Like in the Hindu culture, they talk about Kali or Kali and Kalima and how she shreds and cuts off she does what? She cuts the ego, yo. She cuts the ego. She cuts it and ends it. And it's like taking a whole bunch of Legos and breaking that motherfucker up at a molecular, atomic, subatomic level. It annihilates it to put together something new. And so we have the three levels of creation. Basically, we have when things are created and how things are sustained and how things are annihilated or destroyed in order to start the process again. And in the Hindu culture, they talk about the Trishu, right? And so anyway, that's just a basic one. I'll go a little bit deeper into this on my Patreon, but I felt the need to put that out there as far as, just some deeper understanding about our ego. So again, I'm Shophar from Full Show Energy Work and Full Show Health. And I do energy work for couples and singles. My lady and me do it with couples, and then she works with the womb beings. I work with the men. And I have a book, Soul Sacred Orgasmic Living. And then I have a series of webinars, Sex to SEX, Sensual Emotional Exchange. And you can check the links below. We're going to have some co-ed. We have a co-ed one, and then also one just for men. And I also will have a 24/7, webinar that will be running all the time. So check the links below, and you can get on in on that. And thank you again for coming through. Keep that SEX in your life. Keep shining, keep evolving, and do so exponentially. Oneness.